The sea was wild that evening, angry, relentless, and almost alive. Waves crashed against the rocks as if warning everyone to stay away. Yet there he stood, Ethan Carter, a quiet single dad from a small coastal town, his eyes locked on the raging water. He didn't hesitate. When others screamed for help, he ran straight into the ocean. What he pulled from the waves that night wasn't just a drowning stranger, it was the beginning of a story that would change both their lives forever. The storm had rolled in faster than anyone expected. Ethan was heading home from his late shift at the docks, his truck loaded with nets and the faint smell of salt and rain clinging to him. His 6-year-old daughter, Lily, was waiting for him with her grandmother, probably fast asleep by now. He'd promised her pancakes in the morning. He always kept his promises. Then came the sound, a cry, faint but desperate. Ethan turned toward the beach, barely able to make out a figure in the water, thrashing wildly. Without a second thought, he threw off his jacket and plunged into the freezing waves. The current pulled hard, dragging him down, but he pushed through, fighting his way closer until his hand caught something, a wrist, trembling and cold. He gripped tight. "I've got you," he shouted, though his voice was swallowed by the wind. By the time he dragged her ashore, she was unconscious, her long hair tangled with seaweed, her skin pale under the dim light of the storm. Ethan pressed against her chest, performing CPR until, finally, she coughed up salt water and gasped. Her eyes fluttered open, green, glassy, and full of shock. She whispered, barely audible, "You saved me." He didn't know her name. Didn't ask. He just wrapped her in his jacket and stayed until the ambulance came. The next morning, he was back at the diner with Lily, trying to shake off the night. But the image of her face kept replaying in his mind. 3 days later, she walked into the diner. Dry, elegant, and radiant in a way that made everyone stop talking. She looked completely out of place in their small coastal town. "Ethan Carter?" she asked, her voice soft but commanding. He stood up, confused. "That's me." She smiled faintly. "I'm Isabella Moreau. You pulled me from the sea." He nodded awkwardly, unsure what to say. Gratitude, maybe? Instead, she reached into her bag and handed him an envelope. "I'd like to thank you properly," she said. "Come with me this weekend to my island." He blinked. "Your island?" Isabella laughed softly. "Yes. I own it. Just a few miles off the coast. Consider it a gift for saving my life." Ethan hesitated. He wasn't the kind of man who accepted handouts, especially not from someone like her, a woman who looked like she belonged in glossy magazines, not at a seaside diner. But Lily's wide-eyed curiosity tugged at him. "An island, Daddy," she whispered. He smiled weakly. "Maybe just for the weekend," he said when they arrived. The island was breathtaking, golden beaches, glass villas, and the hum of peace all around. Isabella welcomed them personally, barefoot in the sand, her hair dancing in the wind. "No business. No expectations," she said. "Just gratitude." Over the next few days, Ethan saw a different side of her. Beneath the glamour, Isabella was lonely. Her island was quiet, but her eyes carried storms. One evening, as they sat by the bonfire watching Lily build sandcastles, Isabella admitted, "I was out there in the water because I didn't care if I came back. Everything I had felt empty. Until you showed up." Her words hit him like a wave. Ethan wasn't sure what to say. He knew about loss. His wife had died when Lily was just a baby. He'd spent years surviving, not living. But in Isabella's voice, he heard something that mirrored his own pain. They spent the night talking about love, grief, and the kind of silence that never really leaves you. Isabella's laughter softened, genuine and unguarded. Lily fell asleep on Ethan's lap, and Isabella whispered, "You gave me my life back. Let me give you yours." But Ethan shook his head gently. "You can't give me what I already have." "My life is her," he said, nodding toward Lily. "I just forget sometimes how beautiful it can still be." Isabella smiled sadly. "Then maybe I can remind you." The next morning, she surprised him with an offer, not money or gifts, but a partnership. "I want to turn this island into a place where people who've lost their way can find peace again," she said. "You know what that feels like, Ethan. Help me build it." He looked out at the horizon. The waves were calm now, shimmering in the sunlight. He thought of the night he pulled her from the sea, how he had saved her life without realizing she might help him rediscover his own months past, and the island became a sanctuary not for luxury, but for healing. Veterans, widows, single parents, people searching for something, they all found comfort there. Isabella and Ethan worked side by side, and slowly, quietly, they found comfort. 2.1 evening, as the sun dipped low, Isabella stood beside him by the water where it all began. "Do you ever think about that night?" she asked. He smiled. "Every day. Not because I saved someone, but because that's the night I stopped drowning too." She reached for his hand. "Then maybe it wasn't the sea trying to take me," she whispered. "Maybe it was bringing me to you." The waves brushed against their feet, soft and forgiving. Ethan looked at her, then at Lily chasing shells down the beach, her laughter echoing through the wind. For the first time in years, he felt whole. The ocean had taken much from him, but that night, it gave something back. And as the tide rolled in beneath a sky painted with gold, Ethan knew that sometimes, rescue isn't just about saving someone else. It's about being found yourself when you least expect it, and by someone who sees the storm inside you, and chooses to stay.